Good afternoon, I am Villia Walker and today we are going to assemble the shorts. Okay, I've already stitched the 4-point area which is there and place your darts in. Remember the darts are 10 centimeters from the center. So this is what the back looks like with the darts and the seam stitched. This is the front of the shorts. Remember we had cut the zipper allowance on the fly. So I do the same thing. I stitch the 4-point area. This is done 1.5 and this comes up to 0.5 centimeter. And then we make sure the fitting line matches with the stitch line. Alright, so we're going to be putting in the zipper next. We have put in this dart already for the front as well. For the female, the bigger part of the zipper is on the right side. For the men, it's on the left side. This is your zipper foot, so I'm changing the foot, the machine foot, so we can put on the zipper. Okay, cut that down. Alright, so I take the zipper and I'm putting it onto the fabric, onto the shorts, right, in this direction. So this part is turned down. And the tape is placed right in the fitting line. So that's here. Remember you can baste or you can pin and sew. Basting make it a little easier for you. So you can baste if you're having difficulty. Alright, so I pin here. Notice the fitting line is here. And I'm going to stitch. So we start down here and come up to the waist. Okay. That's your first stitch line. Alright, there it is on the fly. On this side facing you when you put your pants, shorts or pants on, this would be your left side. So we're going to go out 2 millimeters from there, from your fitting line. Pin the seam, the fly in place. So there's no movement. Okay. Again, put your shorts right side looking at you. And you're going to place the allowance, the fitting, the fold right along the zipper. That's your fitting line. But the fitting line is where you sew for the garment to fit here, right? So I'm placing it right along the teeth of the zipper. Pin in place. Okay. All right, now you will have to sew again. This time starts down at the bottom of the zipper as well. And this time we are sewing very near to the edge. that side is stitched on, so we're going to cover with the bigger side. Okay, and it's best to pin in place to make sure that there's no movement. Always keep pinning and balancing your work. So we pin to hold it in place. Alright, so there you have it. Okay, now I'm going to stitch around. That's your top stitching. Remember, that is decorative stitch. That stitch does not hold the zipper. And take back off the zipper foot and put on the general purpose one. So the zipper foot is just used to put in your zipper. Alright, we start at the bottom again. Make sure your zip is lined up flat underneath. Everything is flat before you start stitching. Alright, so I'm going to start at the bottom again. And I'm going to go in a curve. Okay. Turn. And it comes straight up with that stitch line. Okay, again, make sure you pick up levi's at the top so we don't have to keep threading your needle. Alright, so there we have the zipper is now in your shorts. Okay, there it is. Okay, and the back looks like that. Now if you're putting it in the pocket, you would know, depending on which pocket you're using, put it in, but we're not putting in the pocket in this one. So we are now going to put the sides together. So the zip goes in first there before the side is done. All right, put your shorts onto your table area and make sure you pin the sides together and make sure they are very relaxed. Okay, we're going to stitch our seam allowance and we should have 1.5 here. Okay. So we are pinning the seam allowance. Here. Okay. Oops. And we'll pin the other side. From here. There it is. So the sides are pinned first. Okay, after the sides are done, you will do the 4-point area. So you pin the back in place, allowance in place. And the front one, we go in line with the zipper, the bigger side of the zipper. There we have it, so we pin it in place. It's slightly slanted, keep it like that. All right, you're going to match your seam allowances, right? You're going to match the seams, right? Touching each other like that. Okay, I like to put the back seam opposite to the front seam. Seam allowance opposite to the front seam, it's less bulky. Then we are going to put the underleg, that's the underleg together. Pin. I tend to pin and sew it, see? And then you put the other half there. We have now pinned the shorts together, the outer leg and the inner leg. Outer leg and inner leg. So we will stitch from the waist down. Both sides are done first. Remember, if you're putting in the pocket, if it's the inside pocket, then you would put that in. Leave the space for that. You can learn how to do pockets by watching my video on how to do the pockets. After the sides are done, then you will do the under seam. Now we start from the crotch down to the leg. Go back, and from the crotch down, it gives a better fit. It's important that the inside of your garments should be as neat and attractive as the outside. So if you do not have a serger, you can use the zigzag on your machine to make the seam similar to this. Okay. So we take the pins out. And we will neaten the seams. So we go on the zigzag of the machine since we're not using the serger, and we neaten the seams. The other side, the under crotch can be done now. So that's for neatening the seams. Seam allowances. Okay, so we turn the shorts over onto the right side. Okay, looks quite good. This side, that's our leg area. Okay. Good. So we have stitched the shorts together. See, it's quite nice. Looks quite good on the front. Okay. Good. You can press as you go along to make sure it's relaxed. Now after that is done, we are ready to put in on the band. Pull the zipper down and the fly is turned out like this. So the extension of the fly is here. So when the zipper pulls down, your under garb will not be seen. So I pin it out like that. Alright. This one remains the same way. Now we're going to pin the darts in place. The darts are turned to the center, front, pin the darts in place. So they are relaxed, slightly slanted when you pin them. The side seams will be turned towards the back, pin those in place as well. All right, make sure that when you're pinning the back, the seam allowance is turned the same direction as underneath the crotch area. So we pin all the darts in place. Now the band, we're going to use the band as a double check, just like in the skirt. All right, so after everything is pinned like that, it's pinned in place, okay? All right, then we are ready to prepare the band. So I put that there, and we get our band. The band is called the full waist measurement with 5 centimeters extra. All right, so it's 16 centimeters wide. So the band was cut in the last class session. What we do is that we measure 1 centimeter off in from the edge like that, 1 in, and we clip. Then we measure from there the full waist we're using. Measure the full waist from there, okay, and we clip. Then we're going to fold in half, so that's half of your waist, and we're going to fold quarter. So clip and fold again in quarter. So your shorts should fit in these points and should be well balanced, okay? So here we are. This is the bigger side of the zipper, the upper side. And we place the 1 centimeter clip out right here. And we're going to pin there, and then the quarter must be at the side, and we pin it. If it's not there, you find out why. And the next one will be at the center back, and we pin as well. The next clip will be at the other side. So at the end, when you finish pinning your band on, it should fit your waist correctly. Now the next clip comes at the front where the clip is, and the extra piece goes over the fly. All right, so it's going to go over the fly area. Okay, so I pin here again. After I've done all that, I'll come and pin the waist with the edges touching. So the pants edge must be touching the edge of the band, okay? So you put all of them together. Now why I do the band double is that you won't have to put any stiffening or interfacing in it. Once it's double, you can just stitch, and it should be thick enough. If you're going to be putting loops in, the loops will go in where the gaps and the side points are, and that will be done at this point between the band and the shorts. Okay, so our quarters are good, so I continue to pin. I trust you are enjoying my presentation. Sewing can be enjoyable and can be relaxing and can can be great fun. When you realize you can take the raw fabrics and cut it into a garment and sew it, and then you will be able to wear it. Okay, so I pin and I'm good. Now the seam allowance to stitch this on is going to be just 1 centimeter. And I normally suggest you stitch on the band because that's plain and you can see what you're doing. Alright, so we're going to start here. Go straight around. Keep watching as you go to make sure you don't have any movements of your dart or the side seam. Keep everything in place as you go. Oopsie. Oh dear. Okay, so I'm going to put this on to make sure I can thread the needle. Okay, so take it back from there. Breaking the thread. See? Okay, we're having a little breakage of the thread. So cut a piece off and see what is the cause of that. Okay, so it's time to remove your pins. Now after the pins are out, you'll check and make sure everything is smooth. The waist is smooth. You pull the zipper up at the front and make sure that the two areas are matching here at the front. You see the fitting lines must run right into each other like that. Alright, now we're going to complete the band. You put the band onto the right side. So it comes onto the right side like this. Notice I'm hanging over the fitting line there by 2 millimeters. See? Alright, so when we turn over the band, we'll have that to stitch the band on. So we do that here. We're going to stitch from here up to finish the end of the band. So do that before we you have to make sure the band is lined on flat, you see, when you're doing that as well, or else it will get twisted. Alright, so we have stitched that and we turn it over. You will get your finished edge like that. Use your scissors to make sure the end is out. Okay, so that's how it looks. Alright. The other side is done same way. Onto the right side. And then you make sure your 2 millimeters are hanging there. And you pin. Notice also that I make sure these two ends are together. I'm going to make sure that both of them are the same size by matching them. You just need to put them together like this to match them. So the band will be the same size all around. Again, we stitch up in line with the fly. Okay, there we have it. All right, now at the top, you cut across like that to get rid of the back. So when you turn over, it should be good. And you push the ends out again to make sure it is smooth. And there you have your ends again, looking very nice there. Okay. After that is done, you're going to make sure the seam allowance, which is this, is tucked into the band and covered over. So you're going to be getting rid of all your raw edges, see? And this is the right side. I tend to relax the sides of the allowance by clipping it. Those are the sides, so the band is more relaxed, okay? Especially if you're using the thicker fabrics. Alright, good. So we're going to complete the band now. Cover over like that. Make sure there is no fold here, it's just smooth. Fold, and we're going to pin. Now again, you can baste or you can pin and sew. I tend to practice pin and sew. I find it much easier. When you fold over the band, we're making sure that the 2 millimeters here is below our stitch line. So when we stitch on the right side, it will be caught, the band will be caught into the stitch line. Okay, so we go, turn down, and make sure it's balanced. While pinning, you're going to make sure that the band is the same size all around. And again, an easy way to do it is just match it like this. Just fold it as you go and match it. So you make sure the band is the same size right through. Here as well. As we go, we check and make sure the band is the same size. Notice the pins are put straight like that because the machine will stitch over it, but if the pins are slanted, it will break the needle. You have to make sure that you keep your pins straight. Okay, so that seemed quite good. Okay, see, they're matching each other there. I did not clip this one, so I will clip it. So you don't have the box. When you're sewing the second time around, you have to stitch in the same direction. So if you remember, we stitch on the band, so we started here. I have to come back here and stitch. All right, so I'm ready to stitch again. Okay. Now some persons like the band to be stitched all the way around, but I just stitch it once. That's optional. Okay, so the band is now completed. We're going to remove the pins. Now the waistband can be fastened at the waist by using the hook and loop or by using buttonholes. So I'll be putting a buttonhole onto this. All right. So the buttonhole goes in where the pressure will be. So the pressure is going to be that direction. So the buttonhole has to go across. It's placed in the center. The buttonhole is made a little bit bigger than the button you're using. So you have to have an idea which button you're using, the size of your button. So I'll put my buttonhole in and then it will be hemming up the hemline. Okay. Now some machines will carry the automatic buttonhole, so you will not have to do these movements. The machine does the movements for you. For this machine we have to do the movements. That's for the buttonhole. Right, now the hemline, you can stitch or you can hem. Depends on what you like. I'll show you edge stitching today. You can serge if you have a serger, the serger ends. Those who do not have a serger can practice edge stitching. Or you can just zigzag the ends and then hem. Okay, you make sure the seam allowance is in place and it's good. I tend to take a little off it at the end here, make it a little smaller. So it's more relaxed. Okay. If you're edge stitching, which is I'm going to demonstrate edge stitching, you turn 1 centimeter like that. And you stitch it right at the edge. Okay, so that's your edge stitching. Okay, and then you would set the hem. Turn your hemline up. You balance both legs, make sure they are the same length. Okay, so when that is done, it's ready for hemming. Alright, see, that's the hemline of the shorts. And you would put the other leg like this to make sure they are the same length. So put it like this. This is the under, the crotch area. Put it like that and set the hem. In that case, you're making sure that the shorts length is the same. Okay, so you set the other side. You do the same thing at the side. Place the band like that. Put the sides together to make sure that they are the same length. So your band, okay, down. Just set your hem in there. Okay. So both of them now should be the same length. Put them back again and make sure they are good. Okay, perfect. All right, so here we have our shorts completed, just leaving the hemline to be done. Okay. Trust you enjoyed my demonstration on how to assemble the shorts.